So, Bleach Rebirth of Souls has not disappointed since we've been getting information, since we've been knowing the game has been coming, and now we've been getting new weekly character trailers, and they're not even going in order anymore, and it's just random. And before we just keep going, I gotta just get my characters out that have to be on the wish list, and it's not because I just love these characters, it's because of how unique this game is already looking. I feel like if these characters come to the game, they can bring a lot of crazy things, and a lot of things that can really make the depth in this combat just amazing, man. So, today's anime question is going to be, what 3 characters from Bleach are on your must-have list? Or like, what 3 characters do you really want to see implemented in this game because of their Shikai and Bankai abilities, man? But if this is something you think you might be interested in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those nice things. And if you want to see more anime game content, make sure to join the Discord in the description, man. But let's go ahead and hop straight into this video. Okay, so before we get into the characters, man, keep in mind that like by the time you see this, they might have already released a trailer of the character that I'm talking about. But hopefully, you know, like I said, everybody that I talk about on this list actually comes to. And probably the first character is probably going to be somebody that a lot of people are wanting, especially since they were talking about one-hit kills, and especially now that we know a little bit more about the game system, now that we've actually seen some gameplay. And the first character is going to be Soifeng. I have to see Soifeng just because of the fact that her Shikai, if she hits you in the same spot twice, she can automatically kill you. And I think this character would work pretty interesting in a sense. We typically see what we've been seeing from the gameplay, that it's better for you to go to your Bankai and, you know, continue to evolve because you're going to get stronger. But I think with Soifeng, what they could do, because we know that when she goes to her Bankai, her, you know, little stinger thing turns into like a big ass missile that, you know, she stated herself that is even hard for her to move with. So I'm kind of curious if her Bankai is maybe only going to be like a cinematic that she uses when she deals the finishing blow to finish you. But I think another thing that they could do, that they could implement with Soifeng, is they could maybe make it where she only stays in her Shikai form, but she only goes through 2 phases, meaning she can kill you in 2 phases. The first phase, she hits you with the first sting, and if she depletes your ratio all the way down and she kills you with the soul break the next time, that's when she hits you in the same spot and she finishes you. This would make Soifeng one of the few characters that always finishes you off in 2 phases. But I think the way they can balance this is they can make it where her damage is a decent amount less and takes a much longer time for you to actually, you know, burn off the health of a character, man. But let me know how y'all feel about this and how they'd actually implement Soifeng, because I don't really know if they do her Bankai transformation, just because, like I said, she said that she can't even move around that well in her Bankai form and she prefers not to use it. So let me know in the comments how you actually feel about Soifeng coming to the game in this way. The next character is going to be Tozen. I think that his stuff is going to be pretty cool, especially with the fact that, you know, he basically erases your senses and stuff like that. I think them having his Bankai in this game just for that would be pretty interesting, because like I said, it's not one of those Bankais where, you know, their sword is just changing form. No, this is an ability that he uses that affects the whole area around him. So is this going to be one of the few characters that actually gives us an area effect, kind of, you know, just basically trapping you inside his thing, and basically you're not going to be able to see or something like that. I don't know if they'd actually make it where you can't see at all, but there'd maybe be some type of thing that they put on the screen to disorient it to you so you can't see. And we also know that he also has a holification transformation. He has quite a few things, so I think this character would be very interesting to come to the game. Next is going to be Mayuri Kurotsuchi, and I think that he'd be pretty cool just because of the fact that he has paralysis and he has poison, and then he also has his Bankai form, which, you know, allows him to shoot out the poisonous smoke as well. But one thing that's interesting about him is that whenever he slashes you with his sword in his Shikai form, it basically numbs that whole spot that he slashes. It basically makes it unusable. So I'm wondering how they're going to find a way to actually implement this in the game, if it'd be, you know, a little bit similar where he only actually gets that effect whenever he maybe depletes all your reishi and takes off some Konpaku. Maybe, you know, if he slashes you, they kind of do it in a way of maybe making a movement speed reduction, or making it where, you know, it takes your ratio a longer amount of time to actually get back to be able to, you know, get abilities and stuff like that. This is going to be very interesting how they decide to use this character, especially if they put him in the game. The next character is going to be Shinji. If you've been watching my Bleach videos, you know I've been wanting to get my boy Shinji, man, because we know that he has a holification transformation. Then we also know that, you know, whenever he's using his sword ability, it basically reverses, you know, the way that you're feeling and the way you're seeing things. And we haven't even really got to see his Bankai yet in the show yet, and we actually will probably be getting to see that later as we're going through the 1000-Year Blood War arc, man. But I think with Shinji, I think it'd be a little bit similar. Maybe they could reverse your controls, but I don't really know how long they'd actually be able to do this, because that's a pretty strong thing for a fighting game. Maybe this can be an effect that only lasts for a certain amount of time. Maybe if he does like a certain activation with ability. I'm very curious to see how they're going to make this Bankai ability work. The next character is going to be Ukitake. I think his is going to be pretty cool just because of the fact that he can absorb your attack and then reflect it back to you with using both of his blades. And this is also going to be a character that has double blades. I'm excited to see how the characters that have double Konpakutos are going to actually fight in this game. And that's the main thing with him, is just the fact that he can also absorb and then reflect it. Let me know how y'all feel about him. And then one of the characters that I feel like was highly underrated, and I feel like, you know, they just didn't give him enough, at least what we've seen so far. And I think it's solely just because he wasn't like, you know, he was a key character, but he wasn't, you know, like part of Team Ichigo, because his ability is pretty insane. And I'm talking about my man Izuru Kira. I think that it's pretty cool that when he uses Wabisuke, he doubles the weight of your blade. If you didn't know that, each time that your blade comes into contact with him, he's going to double the weight till he eventually, you know, makes you kneel down. And his sword also has an interesting shape. But how would they implement this in Bleach? I think the way that they do this in this game is maybe make it maybe as the phases go down and maybe as your Konpaku get depleted, they'll maybe show like an animation, maybe with, you know, your swords clinging together or something like that. Maybe another movement speed reduction, making you move slower. But I feel like this character could have been a lot more crazy in Bleach if they would have made him more of a center point. But I'm pretty sure there was at some point in the Bound arc where they showed that like you can power through his Shikai ability if you have like more spiritual pressure to him, where you can get past the doubling weight of the sword. But I just always thought that his ability was extremely cool, and I wish he would have actually been like one of the more seen stronger characters, just because of how crazy that ability is, because everybody fights with swords. So if you double the weight and you make somebody's sword useless, what can they do? And the last character that I'm really going to talk about is going to be Baragon, which is one of the Espada. And I think one of the main reasons with him is kind of similar to what we talked about with Mayuri, with the fact that he basically has somewhat of a poison. It's not really poison, it's really in the sense of if you get too close to him, you're basically going to start decaying and you're going to die. And I'm just, how are we going to implement this in the game? How is this going to work? How do we actually put this ability in here? I really don't know what they're going to do with that, and I don't really have a full concept for this character yet. And these are the characters that I think are going to be the most interesting, and I feel like if they come to the game, they're going to just be broken, man. Also, of course, we have some honorable mentions like Captain Yamamoto and also Ichibe, but I think that we're not going to see these characters, of course, until we get 1,000 Year Blood War and things like that, man. But let me know in the comments if you think that my characters that I think are going to be interesting to the game are interesting to you. Do you think these characters will break the game as well? And let me know your top 3 characters that you want in this game. But I'm excited to react to more Bleach trailers, man. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this, one of the characters I talked about already has a trailer. I need my man Shinji, man. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those nice things, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next Bleach Rebirth of Souls trailer. We out.